How's it going? Thank you for checking out the video today. Today I'm going to be showing off my Emerald Amethyst discard tempo deck. This is the type of deck that you really could steal games off of any color combination, but you could also lose games against any color combination. If you find this type of video to your liking, please give the video a like, and in the comment section, let me know what color combinations you want to see me do next. Before we get started today, let's hear from today's sponsor. No one. You don't even have 300 subs. I hope I got a laugh or two from that. My wife tells me I'm not funny. But anyway, on with the video. All right, so starting off with our one drops, we've got 3 Pegasus cards. This is going to be an early game evasive character for us. We're doing 4 of the one drop Flynn Rider, 3 of the one cost Kita, and 4 copies of the one cost Queen. Rounding out the one cost cards is going to be 2 of the Cove, just to protect some of these smaller guys while we're doing some of our trading with other characters. Now you'll notice a theme of all these cards. Every single one of these cards is going to be able to shift into a strong Floodborn character for us, and I'm sure you can see him peeking in the corner. It's because we're playing Bucky. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll show off some of the cool combinations I've been able to play in the early game with some of these shift characters. It's been really surprising to me how strong characters like Pegasus and Queen are in this combination. All right, and starting off with our 2 drops, I want to start off by apologizing to everybody we play against because we are using 4 copies of Bucky. He is just too good in this meta to leave out of the deck, and we built a extremely top-heavy Floodborn deck, so might as well have all 4 copies of him. This deck needs to mulligan pretty aggressively because without Bucky, the deck kind of falls apart. But if you get Bucky in that opening hand, you get one of your one drops in the opening hand, you really just can snowball the game from there. Next up, we've got 3 copies of both the Emerald Ursula and the Amber Ursula. Emerald is going to allow us to see the opponent's hand, discard a song of our choice, and the Amber Ursula is going to allow us to sing a little bit higher. It's going to contribute more for our Under the Sea card that you'll see later. And then because we are using so many Ursulas, I did include a couple 2-drop songs that they can sing or that we can use as a discard mechanic to get out the bigger Ursula. So we've got 3 copies of Sudden Chill, 2 copies of Bare Necessities. Most of these end up being either ink or, like I said, discarded to get the Ursula out quicker, but they're also there and nifty if we need them. For our 3 cost cards, we are using Prince John, 4 copies of him. This will be useful since we are discarding so many cards of our opponents. We'll be able to draw off of them. One thing that you will see that we are missing though, we are not playing any of our Diablos. We do have the Enchanted Diablo here. It's just too expensive to really put into a deck like this. You can also take out the Prince John here for a Diablo package, but obviously that's going to raise the price of this deck quite a bit since that's a $40 card. So it all depends on what your budget is and what you're looking to do. All right, then keeping on with the cards that we do have in the deck, we have 3 copies of Ursula Eric's Bride. This is going to allow us to shift it in, surprise our opponents by discarding a song, and then every time she quests, we're going to be able to see the opponent's hand, know what their next plays are, and if they do have something that's not a character, we can get rid of it. If you have a Bucky out in the field and you're getting rid of 2 cards by playing 1 card, it can seal the game against most color combinations. Then because we need a big quester and we're discarding so many of our opponent's cards, we're going to use the 4 cost Flynn Rider. He's evasive, and for every card in your opponent's hand, he does lose a lore. So when they're at 1, when they're at 0, we're going to get the max benefit, and he's a Floodborn, so always contributing to that Bucky synergy. All right, now onto our 5 cost characters, more Floodborns on the table. We've got 4 copies of the Queen, Commanding Presence. This card is one of the strongest cards in Amber. You can get it out on turn 2, and we use this to get rid of most locations because every time you quest, you're doing -4 to opponent's strength, +4 to one of your strength for the turn. This is a card I love to see early, I love to see it late, and that's why we put her in the thumbnail. She's very important to this deck, one of the key parts that we typically will mulligan for, but if I don't have a Bucky, I would send her back because Bucky is a little bit more important. Next up, we do have 3 copies of the Pegasus Cloud Racer. This is a nice card to have a bigger evasive target. We're not really depending on his second ability of giving our other characters evasive. More so liking this card because it's a Floodborn. We can cheat it out a little bit early on turn 3 if we have a Pegasus on the board. And then last up of our characters of 5 cost, we've got the Kita. She's also a Floodborn. When you play her, she's going to be another card that we can cheat out early She's only going to be a 3 cost for us if we have the small Kita on the board, and she's going to give every character that's on the battlefield currently -3 strength until your next turn. This is going to allow you to sing our featured song a little bit better and get pretty much anything off the board between this and the Queen, minusing opponent's strength. And then, just as an emergency button, we do have the We Don't Talk About Bruno. We can sing this, we can play this towards the later stages of the game where maybe we don't have enough characters to sing another Under the Sea, we can still get something off the board. And if everything's going to plan and the opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, we can actually get rid of it completely. And then finally, our end game scenario, the combo that's going to pretty much seal the deal for any game that we're playing. If we can get an early Under the Sea and wipe the opponent's board. This is really key to put some of those early game characters that your opponent's playing to the bottom of the deck, out of reach for most games. And we're going to combo it with our Queens, with our Kitas, to take care of some of those bigger threats. So if your opponent is playing Mufasa and is dependent on you banishing it, we can get rid of it safely and they don't get the added benefit from it. And the last card in the deck, we do have a Chernobog. This is just because we're playing so many characters. Most times, if you're in a back and forth game that's dragging on, you can play this for free. And then as long as you have some card draw, it's pretty much a new game where all your characters are going to be available again. But you also have a 9/9 questing for 3 card. All right. So I wanted to really quickly at the end of the video talk about some of the combos that I've seen early game that really helped me get over the bump with this deck, especially before I set up my Bucky and set up my insane card draw or my insane discard. These 2 cards, when put together, are pretty insane. As long as your opponent's not playing a character that has evasive and rush, this Pegasus is going to remain safe 90% of the time and going to be able to wipe out most of the cards your opponent is looking to play pre-turn 4 or 5. With the Queen, when you quest with her, you're going to give him +4, which is going to make him a 5/1. But more importantly, you can have whatever he's attacking be a -4 strength. So things that should be taking Pegasus out, you can be taking out instead and leaving Pegasus on the board. And because he's evasive, unless they have an action or they have an evasive character themselves that's on the board and ready to attack, he's going to be free to do it again the next turn. Another combo that I talked briefly about earlier in the video was Bucky and then +1 of the Ursulas. So when Ursula comes in, she's going to get rid of a song card if your opponent has one. And then on the next turn, or even the same turn, as long as we discard a song, we'll be able to play a Floodborn right on top of her. So turn 3, we could potentially get rid of 2 cards of our opponents, usually bringing them down to 2 or 3 depending on how many cards they've inked, how many cards they've drawn. And then every turn, we're going to be able to continually quest with Ursula, getting rid of even more cards from your opponent. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think this deck is pretty interesting. I usually win really, really hard with it, or I find myself losing really, really hard with it. It's something where the mulligan makes or breaks how you're going to go with the deck. I probably won't bring this deck to set champs. Like I said in a previous video, which I'll show on screen now, the meta near me is mostly Ruby Amethyst, which this deck here has a very hard time with from my experience. They have just so many cards to shut down and control what you want to do while you're playing your cards. And if you let them get to 6 ink, the game's basically over. We don't have any super high strength characters, so we're vulnerable to Brawls, we're vulnerable to Sisus, we're vulnerable to Flynn coming in, and the opponent just has higher cost characters and gets 3 lore for free every turn. But this is a very fun one that I like to bring to locals just to mess around with. What do you guys think? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Like I said before, leave a comment. Let me know what type of deck you want to see me build next. If you're not subscribed already, I would appreciate it. We're super close to reaching our sub goal. You could be the one that pushes us over the 300 mark. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you guys next time. Good luck on your set champs. I hope you guys all come back with Ursulas, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.